All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Good morning, first of all, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. Let's get going. Welcome to today's webinar titled Microsoft 365 Persona-Based Use Cases. In today's webinar, we'll be exploring, first of all, we'll be introducing Copilot and what it is, what it does, how can we interact with it, and how can we um, make these interactions more effective using some prompt engineering techniques and best practices. But most importantly, we'll be looking into some real life scenarios, persona-based use cases. Persona-based meaning we'll be looking into different use cases where we should be or could be using Microsoft 365 Copilot to increase our productivity, to increase the efficiency of the outcomes that we're delivering within different personas. So some of them will be related to leadership and people in executive positions. Some of them related to sales positions, finance positions, marketing, human resources, operations. So we'll be embodying different personas and then looking at real life scenarios within these personas where we might be able to use Microsoft Copilot and how can we use it in order to achieve these tasks. So it's a lot of hands-on, a lot of exercises, and it's very exciting. I'm really glad to be here. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Karim Abdelhamid. I'm a cloud solutions architect and developer, and also a Microsoft certified trainer. And I always say this in the beginning of any session related to Copilot. I get really excited when it comes to Copilot. I was actually part of the first teams that had access to some early releases of Copilot, and we were asked to test it out quite a lot and give a lot of feedback on it. And the amount of development and progress that it has been making over the short course of 2 years or a bit more, it has been nothing short of phenomenal. A lot of progress that happened and keeps happening until now. So I'm really excited for this. Now, speaking of the agenda for the day or the outline of what we'll be discussing, as we said, first of all, we'll be looking into an introduction to Microsoft 365 Copilot. So what is it? How does it work? What type of information does it have access to? How can I make sure that it's private, that it's secure? How can I make sure that my data is not being used to train the models, the base models, or other things that might be that might compromise my data's privacy and security and all of those things. Then we'll be looking into other opportunities that using AI and using Copilot specifically within my day-to-day work tasks, what opportunities does this present? How can I extend these opportunities? How can I extend these functionalities of Microsoft 365 Copilot to go even beyond my Microsoft 365 tenant? So even beyond my organization's, Microsoft 365 users, calendars, emails, Teams chat, Office applications. Is it even possible to extend beyond that? The short answer is yes, and we'll look into that in a short while. Then lastly, as we mentioned, we'll be wearing different hats, assuming different personas, and looking into different real life scenarios where we should be using or could be using Microsoft 365 Copilot, where it can help us, and we'll see how it can help us just achieve all of these different tasks for all of these individuals in different responsibilities within an organization, and it helps us achieve it with more quality, with higher accuracy, and in a much shorter time period, which has an amazing effect on boosting productivity as well within the organization. Right. So what is Microsoft 365 Copilot? What we see on the screen now, there are a lot of things that you can ask Microsoft 365 Copilot. There are a lot of prompts that you can use. And what Microsoft 365 Copilot is it's a large language model, meaning that it's a generative AI algorithm that has been trained on massive amounts of data. And then these large language model capabilities were applied onto Microsoft Graph. So Microsoft Graph, as the icon on the screen implies, is the intricate web of relationships inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. That's all being mapped out onto this unifying fabric or unifying solution called Microsoft Graph. So on Microsoft Graph, there are relationships being mapped between users, their email inboxes, their calendars, the other users they work with, the documents they collaborated on, the teams conversations they've had, the meetings they've had that are being recorded and transcribed. So all of these different relationships are being mapped out onto Microsoft Graph. Now add a large language model as powerful and as capable as Copilot on top of this intricate web of relationships, and you get Microsoft 365 Copilot. Basically, you get a personal assistant that knows your workflow, knows the people that you work with, knows the documents that you work on. And in terms of privacy and security, it's 100% private, and it follows whatever access policies the user has. So if the user has access to some piece of document, then so if I have an access to a document and I have a Copilot license, my Copilot has the exact same access that I do. So I cannot do anything unorthodox. I cannot do anything out of the ordinary just because I have Copilot. So this representation is a very nice summary of what Copilot is. So we've got Microsoft Graph, this intricate web of relationships. We've got large language model of generative AI being applied to it, and it operates within Microsoft 365 applications. This is a visual representation of Microsoft Graph. So we can see here there is, so we've got this user here, and this user works with other users as well within the organization. They report to someone else. So now that we know, Microsoft Graph also maps out hierarchies within the organization. It has all the calendars, the events that are happening, the tasks that are being assigned, groups that this user is part of, different files. So we've got Excel, PowerPoint, Word, and who is working on these documents with the user, all the email inboxes, the Teams chat, etc. All right, so before we begin showcasing some of the nice functionalities that we've got within Microsoft 365 Copilot, does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, great. And any issues with the audio quality, video quality? If I can just get a couple of thumbs up. Okay, I see thumbs ups already coming in. Right. So, okay, if it's all good. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Let's jump in the waters, shall we? So this right here is my Microsoft 365 home webpage, home interface, and you can see I can get quick access to any of my applications going on here. And actually, you will see that most, if not all, of these applications within Microsoft 365. So you've got the calendar, you've got Engage, you've got Visio, Bookings, Whiteboard, Even Power BI can have some Copilot capabilities by adding some plugin. So we've got all of these different applications, plus the Office suite of applications that we know and love, plus Outlook, plus OneDrive and Teams. So now you have large language model capabilities that you can apply on any of these applications within Microsoft 365. So let's start with probably one of the most used two applications in terms of Copilot usage. So we found out that rightfully the most two applications that people use Outlook for Copilot for, are Outlook and Teams. It just seems that everyone shares the same struggle of dealing with emails, having to understand long threads of emails, having to draft a lot of emails, as well as scheduling meetings. And then within Teams, we've got Copilot capabilities that include summarizing meetings after they're done, given that they were being transcribed by Copilot. You can even in the middle of the meeting. So I'll show it quickly on the screen here. So whenever you're in a meeting and you've got Copilot within the organization and it is being recorded, you'll see the little Copilot icon here. Unfortunately, I'm joining from a different domain, but assuming that we're within the same organization, you'll get a Copilot chat window over here where you can ask Copilot in real time what is going on in the meeting and ask it to summarize different points and just help you get up to speed, for example. So these are the two most used applications when it comes to Copilot usage. So going into Copilot, so here we've got this email thread between my colleague Fadi and I, and this could be no matter how long. And if I need to get a quick idea on what is going on, I need to formulate a reply within the hour, and I'm busy. I have a lot of work to do. I just need to get something done about this email, and then move on to the tasks that are at hand that I'm working on, that I prioritize. So as soon as I've got a Copilot license assigned, all these different icons will start appearing within my Microsoft 365 applications. So we've got here, we've got the chat, draft, and summarize options, which we'll see in a bit. I've got the summary by Copilot, so I can click on that. Now it starts scanning the email thread and just gives me the idea in a nutshell, let's say. So here it's outlined what have we discussed, what each of us agreed to do, if some things were emphasized, some other things were prioritized more than the other. And I can ask Copilot about this email thread and have a conversation with Copilot about the email to really extract the key insights about what's going on within the email. Now we'll see in a bit, once we start talking about prompt engineering, is that it's not a one-time thing. So it's not a single prompt that I send. No matter the task that I do, I expect to send just a single prompt and get the answer that I'm looking for. Actually, one of the best practices within Copilot, which can be applied to any generative AI really, but one of the best practices of prompt engineering, or the art of the prompt as Microsoft calls it, is to iterate. So you can make a single prompt and then not like the outcome and decide to, let's tweak the outcome a bit. So you'd follow up with another prompt and you keep the conversation going until you reach a satisfying outcome. Nonetheless, so we've got this email thread right here. I can open the Copilot chat side panel, and I'll see immediately some suggestions that are being suggested to me. So you could say, show action items for me in this email, or what are the key points in this email? I can ask questions. I can draft a reply or response to that email. So let's say I'd like to understand what are the key points in this email. Now we can see that Copilot went over the email thread in full, and now it has summarized the key points. So in this email thread, for example, Fadi and I were discussing how can we empower workers within the public sector in Qatar to be able to use and learn more about Copilot and AI in general to increase productivity. So a lot of the discussions relate to what we're doing right now. So all of these are the key points as deemed by Copilot that were discussed. So AI in public services, that's true. Training and upskilling, digital literacy, how can we increase it? We'll need a lot of case studies and research. We can research different sectors, get use cases, and then we aligned on next steps. All right, another functionality, as we mentioned, is to draft a reply, draft a response. So, draft. There we go. Now, as soon as I click that command, Copilot asks me, what do you want to draft? So I can try one of these suggestions and then continue with it. So let's say give update, share an update with, and there are two placeholders that I can edit out. So let's say I'll share updates with Fadi about the AI training that we are currently conducting. Then I can say what I want included in the email. Highlight that we have successfully completed a series of online training. And as soon as I hit enter, now within the context of the email thread, Copilot is grounding my prompt, and it's relating, referencing to that resource, which is the email thread, and also taking my prompt in to generate this email. Hi, Fadi. I hope you're doing well. We can see that it's sharing a quick update about the AI sessions. These sessions covered various aspects of AI, and we'll soon, as soon as we start using Copilot, we'll recognize that within any application where we're using Copilot, it has the same overlook on what's going on in other areas. Meaning, right now I'm typing in Outlook, but I know for a fact that it knows what's going on in my Teams chat. It knows what the most recent meetings that I've had, if they were given that they were recorded and transcribed. It knows what was mentioned in those emails. That means that if I ask Copilot to draft an email about a certain topic, and I just had a meeting with one of my colleagues about the same topic, then that means that Copilot can fetch that information and fetch that summary of talking points that I just discussed with my colleague and use it as context within my email. So you'll quickly see once you start using Copilot that its power goes beyond just generating content. Its ability to envision all of your day-to-day workflow in a single place. All right, heading over to, before we head over, we can also schedule meetings with Copilot. So let's click on this email here. Let's say we're having a conversation. We'd like to take it further on a one-on-one. Then we click on the email, and here we'll see a schedule with Copilot icon. We suggest. Then as soon as I do that, it looks at the context of the thread, suggests a title, or the people that are involved, suggests an available time. Again, because it knows me, it knows Fadi, it knows our workflow, it knows the meetings that we have, and when are we free, when are we busy. So it suggests a suitable time for both of us. And it also includes, so here's an attachment of the email, and then an agenda and a summary of the conversation so far. So you can see here an agenda to research AI in public services, research AI in finance and healthcare. And these are actually some of the next steps that we were discussing in the meeting, Fadi and So I can insert that and attach it to the email invitation that I'll be sending. Right. Now, okay. Now going on into Teams. So within Teams, I can have one-on-one chats with other Teams users, or I can have, yes,
Kareem, can I ask you for, can you go back to Outlook if you don't mind?
sure.
Would you be able to have a prompt that brings up, for example, let's assume it's Saturday evening and somebody is preparing for his week here in Qatar. What are the top emails that he or tasks that somebody needs to pick up that he or she has missed in their previous mailboxes? Is that
Okay.
something? Is there a prompt that we can use here?
Yeah, so you'll see that if you're not trying to do something specific to a certain email, you see that there's a Copilot chat window here,
Yeah.
and this is like the central administration of Copilot. So within each application, so even if we go to Teams here, you'll see in chats that there is a standalone Copilot chat. So that is different from the side panel here that opens within the chat, because this side panel relates to this chat, as with the side panel that we opened that relates to the specific email. But to answer your question, so there's a Copilot chat window here. So I can say, um, give me the latest email updates from the last month, let's say. So now it has looked into my inbox and it can see that I have some tasks that were assigned to me, and it can have the insight to know what tasks these were, what do they relate to. Me and Ayman exchange emails discussing the Copilot adoption program, new features for a seamless workflow. Then Microsoft sent me an update highlighting new features. So it's like creating, since I asked for an update within a time frame, so it's a time-bound prompt. It has looked into my inbox, then filtered out this time period that I specified, and now it's giving me the summary of what I missed within that time period. Okay, does that answer your question?
So is there a prompt that picks up all like the top 10 emails that you've missed responding to last week, maybe, or top 5 emails that you've missed responding to that were addressed to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's still a time-bound prompt. So you can say what are my unread emails, summarize my emails that were not read or that were missed by me, and then it will go into the inbox and look into the unread emails and summarize them for you. Maybe even you can give it a criteria to rank it on. So rank it based on the internal emails being prioritized over the external emails, so you're not including any marketing or promotional emails or etc. So you can even give it criteria to prioritize these emails for you, so you can manage your workflow better. Yeah. Any follow-up questions? Did we lose someone? Oh, I think we lost him. Anyways, hopefully he'll join us again in a bit. So yeah, that's actually a great question, and it gives us a nice segue into the next capability that I was trying to show. So over here within Microsoft Teams, I can also say summarize all of my conversations, and then I can add a specific topic. So let's say there's this project that everyone is working on, and it's a high priority at our organization, and I'd like to stay up to date. There has been a lot that's going on, and we need to consolidate this information, and we don't have enough time to do it. So I can say summarize all of my conversations related to, and then I can specify the topic, and it can be related to AI training. I enter, so now it's going over my conversations, and it's even going above and beyond. So it's going into a webinar invite, which is one of the webinars in this series, and then it's actually from my Teams chat where I was giving instructions on how to do certain tasks. So now all of the conversations within my Teams chats are now being filtered out by the criteria that I provided, which is the topic that I asked Copilot to include within my prompt. Now, let's say I've got a meeting. The meeting was recorded. It was transcribed. You can see there's a little transcript here. So now within the Copilot side panel, I can start asking questions to Copilot about this meeting. So let's say I would like to summarize the meeting. And it will start looking into the transcription of the meeting and generating a summary for me in order to get the idea of what was discussed, what were the main key points, etc. All right, so that's great. So it still relates to the email thread that was between Fadi and I about the Qatar Digital Agenda 2013. How can we increase AI usage and digital literacy within the public sector? So you can see here the key topics that we discussed: AI adoption and proficiency, training and mindset shift, role-based training, prompt engineering. So all of these were the topics that were talked about within our meeting. I can start asking deeper questions. I can dig deeper into the meeting. So we've got here some suggested follow-up prompts that I can use. So I can say list action items. I would like to know what were the action items that were agreed on during our meeting with. So you can see a very quick and easy way to know what you need to be working on. So as soon as the email is done, as the meeting is done, sorry, and they're recording a transcription already, you can begin digging deeper into the meeting and sort of organizing or planning what your next course of action would be. Now, going into a specific Teams chat conversation and then asking Copilot. So you can say, you can always summarize with Copilot. Summarize this conversation. And again, it will look at the whole chat and then summarize the main talking points that we discussed within the chat. Now you can apply this to one-on-one chats or channel chats or different like groups that you're part of and all the conversations that are happening. Yes, Nadia, there's a question.
Yes, actually, on this use case in specific, let's say you talked about the digital agenda, right? 2030, which is not present at the meeting. Like the pillars of the digital agenda are not there in the meeting. However, in the meeting, the action points were discussed. Can I ask Teams to check the web for me to get for me the key pillars or the key takeaways from the digital agenda 2030, and then bridge it to the key takeaways from the meeting, for example, to match it, or it
Yes.
cannot do orders on web and my organization at the same time?
No, yes. The answer is yes, it can. So it will use Bing to search the web for information and then retrieve this information and make it relevant to the prompt that you have using the data that it was already trained on.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. So yes, we can, and in this case, I would say the effectiveness of the prompt will really matter. So if there is a piece of information that I know is not in my data, or if I try to ask Copilot to, if I said extract the key pillars of Qatar's Digital Agenda 2030, and then I received the response of, I'm sorry, there wasn't any mention of Qatar Digital Agenda 2030 within this conversation. So if I know that information is not there, I can be very specific with the prompt. So I can say, summarize my conversation with Fadian, identify the key points, and include in your response the key pillars from the web of Qatar's digital agenda. And now being as concise, as specific as possible will really help me get the prompt that I want. And if it fails from a single prompt, then I can try and get it from the next prompt. If I'm not happy with the outcome, I can keep trying until I reach a satisfying outcome. So again, being concise, being clear within the prompts. Yeah, you're welcome. Concise and clear with your prompts, and never being ambiguous about anything, iterating with the prompts. So not being satisfied with the first outcome, repeat the prompt in a different way, paraphrase it, or use other techniques. I can give it examples of how to reply to me. I can outline the expectations for Copilot, etc. Okay, so now let's see, other capabilities. By the way, all of these capabilities we'll look into in the light of real life scenarios, real life use cases. I always feel that it's helpful to give just a quick show around so that people are familiarized with the interface and how to achieve different functionalities. So let's jump into Microsoft Word. Now here I've opened a new document, and I can see here a prompt field that I can enter for Copilot to begin drafting. Now this is editing mode, but if I go to Home and click Copilot, now nothing of what's going to happen here is going to be added to the original document unless I say so. But here, this editing or prompt field is used for drafting. So if you want to draft a piece of documentation, then I need to enter the prompt into the prompt field. Now, the cool thing about Copilot, as we mentioned, is it knows me. It knows my organization. It lives within our Microsoft 365 tenant. It can see the files that I have access to, and that's the condition. And it can only see the files and documents that exist within OneDrive or SharePoint of the tenant. So two conditions here. It has to be in my OneDrive or SharePoint, and I need to have access to it. A lot of misconceptions have come around of organizations not wanting to adopt Copilot because if a manager has access to a file and he has Copilot, his employee is using Copilot as well, then they think that Copilots work together somehow, or they can gang up on the different team members, and then the user's Copilot can spy on the manager's Copilot. That's not the case. So your Copilot license follows the exact same access policies that you have. So if it's a document that I have access to, if it's a document in my OneDrive or SharePoint, then I can reference it within Copilot. So let's say I would like to draft a document based on another file. So here, let's say I would like to draft an email to stakeholders, giving them a quick introduction on Qatar's digital agenda using this file. Now, there are multiple ways to reference files for Copilot. You can either use the little clip icon here, and then that opens the different things, the different components that you can reference. And within Word, so within each application, the things that you can reference differ. So within PowerPoint, for example, you can only reference Word documents. Excuse me. Within Word, you can reference Word, PowerPoint, emails, or meetings for Copilot. So let's say I've got a okay, so if I don't see it on the quick list, I can go to Files and click Attach, Browse from Files, Browse from the Cloud, and then I'll go to My Files within my OneDrive, and let's see, where is it? There we go, Introduction to Qatar's Digital Agenda. So I have a document that serves as sort of a guide on Qatar's digital agenda, and I would like Copilot to use this document for grounding. So I'd like to use it as a reference in the draft. So now when I hit generate, so now it's taking my prompt into consideration that it's about Qatar's digital agenda, and it's referencing my document for grounding. And now it has generated this response of an email that I can take. Now I can just copy paste this into Outlook, etc. And basically what this does, in Word compared to Outlook, it just gives me the extra functionality of referencing a document to use it as grounding. So if I'm happy with it, I can keep it or I can regenerate it. And once that's generated, we see that I can even specify the tone of voice that's being used within the email, the length of it, if I would like to make it short, make it long, if I would like to include some specific talking points within the email, etc. Now, I'd like to keep it. I'm happy with it. I can even go to the editor over here and just use all of these different tools that have been given to me. If there are any errors, I can check the editor score. Okay, 100, I'm happy with that. It should be professional writing. Score dropped a bit. We have issues with clarity. Now, using editor in a combination with Copilot really boosts my writing ability. It really boosts the quality of my writings. So instead of leverage, I can use the word use, or I can rewrite the whole thing with Copilot. And we can see, I hope you're well, I'm set to share an update. I've got options written by Copilot that I can use any of these. So let's replace that, and that's done. Okay, jumping into another application. So PowerPoint, for example. Now within PowerPoint, I can either create a blank presentation or I can create a presentation according to an existing template. So most organizations have standard templates that they operate with. So I can create using these templates. So here I've opened a PowerPoint template, and it's not every presentation can be a template. A template has a design in Slide Master. So each type of slide has a specific design, and that's what defines a template, for example. So assuming that my PowerPoint presentation is a template, I can replace it with a new presentation about a new topic, and I can reference other Word documents that I have. But let's not spoil that. I'd like to do it in the use cases scenarios. Okay. We can use Copilot in Excel as well, and we'll see that towards the end of our session a bit. But a bit of a tip and trick, so it's an extra little bonus cookie for everyone. So within OneDrive, I can actually use Copilot within OneDrive without going into the different documents. So let's say I've got, where is it? Okay, so let's go here, HR. So let's say I've got 2 resumes as a human resources employee. So I can click the 2 files that I'd like to compare, and then I click on Copilot and say compare files. Now, this doesn't really provide a thorough comparison in terms of the technical content of the resumes, but it will compare, who's the author, when's the date that was last modified, what are the key information that are given within each resume. You see here the education, work experience, skills, languages. So it has, categorized all of the information within the resume and compared both of them in a single screen, and I can ask more questions about it. So it's just a fun, nice thing to have, capability to have. So you can summarize different documents without having to go into the actual application. You can just do it from OneDrive using Copilot. Any questions? Yeah, all good. Great. Yeah, back. All right, so we've seen how these different capabilities. I think it's quite easy to realize that it's not meant for specific individuals within the organization. It can actually empower and help everyone with tools that they need to learn to increase their productivity. So we can be speaking about executives and strategics, sales specialists, marketing specialists, IT, security specialists, even operations, people at the front desk, at the reception, helping customers as they come in, customer service individuals. So all of the different responsibilities, all of the different personalities and personas with different roles within the organization. There is there are capabilities of Copilot which can help them achieve more and increase their productivity and efficiency within the workplace. And just as a side note, it's not meant to replace anyone. So it's not, if I can now compare resumes and create job descriptions, it doesn't mean that I'll employ Copilot instead of a human resource individual. That's absolutely not the case. So the technology is not here to replace, it's here to enhance. So now when I have a human resources specialist and he has to compare different resumes and make a decision on who to hire, he now has the tool that does all the heavy lifting for him so they can focus on what really matters, and it's the quality of the decisions that are being made. So it really elevates the quality of the outcomes without replacing anyone. All right, so we've briefly touched on some good practices when creating your prompt for Copilot to generate content. But here are some of the best practices when it comes to that. So clarity, being clear and concise is always a priority. Trust but verify, and that's very important. We'll see during the use case scenarios that sometimes the content generated is not 100% satisfactory, and that's absolutely fine. So the idea is I create the content, I create the prompt, I click generate, and then whatever Copilot creates, I need to review it. I trust that Copilot has a high accuracy, but I still need to make sure that it understood the point behind what I was trying to do. I need to make sure that the outcome of the response is satisfactory and up to my standards. Providing regular feedback. A lot of people actually miss this when they use Copilot. So as soon as you start using Copilot, every now and then you'll get a message pop-up of asking you to submit feedback on Copilot. Now, this feedback actually really helps in developing new capabilities. And as trainer for Copilot functionalities, if I'm being asked about a functionality that's not there, someone asks, can you reference another document within Excel? I don't just say that functionality is not there. I have to say that functionality is not there yet, because there are new functionalities that are coming out, and they are based on user feedbacks being submitted. So if there's a a piece of functionality or capability that you think could be helpful to a lot of people, and you think it's, you know, missing, Copilot is missing that little extra kick of flavor, then you have to absolutely give that or report that as a feedback. And there's actually a whole team of Microsoft employees dedicated to enhancing Copilot based on the feedback. So your voice will be listened. Avoiding over reliance. That could be a pitfall of Copilot. It's just so useful and it's so easy to use, and it can be a bit intriguing. Now, there isn't anything wrong with using Copilot to make your life easier and to be faster and quicker with your deliverables, but do not let that replace your own input and creativity within your work. Get as creative as you'd like. That's actually great advice. So push it to the limits, try to see if you can break it, and then you will learn the actual capabilities of Copilot. Avoid using any or be extra careful when you're dealing with very confidential or sensitive data. Yes, it is safe, but we always operate on a least privilege. We always assume that something is going to go wrong, just as a best practice in cybersecurity in general. So just try to be extra careful when you're using these confidential information. Lastly, stay updated on the latest features. Right, so let's say I'm trying to, I have a specific goal in mind, I have a specific task that I'd like to ask Copilot to do for me. I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to formulate my ask. Excuse me. Now, as a general guideline or framework that I can operate within, first I need to identify my goal. What is it that I'm trying to achieve? What do I want from Copilot? I cannot just stop there. That's not being effective. I need to also give it some context. So what's the background story I can give Copilot? What other information I can provide it with? Is there something specific that I needed to look into? Then I can identify a source. Is there a specific file? Or if I'm trying to summarize a meeting, for example, is there a specific person that I'm really interested in what they had to say, and I would like to use them as Copilot's source of information, for example. Then I can outline some expectations. These expectations can be specific pieces that I'd like to be included within the response. So, for example, I can say include a timeline in your response, highlighting the progress of the project so far, and then include that within the response. So now Copilot knows that this is what I expect from it. I can formulate my expectations in the form of the format of the response that's coming out. So I can ask Copilot to respond to me in a table or in the format of a list or a bulleted point or a poem or whatever. Possibilities are endless, and that's why it's important to get creative as well. So these are 4 general components that it's quite good to use when you're creating your prompt with Copilot. Now, this is just an example. It's a bit faded out, but it could be anything. So here's a blog post on how AI benefits small businesses. And then it has given it some context about the person's job, tech blogger, educating small business owners about technology, little information about the audience. And now it has, the user has identified some sources actually, like Gartner and Forbes, which shows that we can get insights from the web as well. It doesn't have to be within our tenant. And then some expectations. So how should the post be like? What should it sound like? Should it include anything specific? And this can apply to any ask. So for example, if I'm trying to summarize a meeting, so I can say summarize this meeting. That's my goal. Some context would be I was late for this meeting and I need a quick overview of the key points that were being discussed. So that's a context background story for Copilot. What did this person have to say? So that could be the source of information. And finally, within the prompt, I can say include a timeline to show the progress and formulate it in a table format. So that would be my expectations out of the prompt. Anyone got any questions so far? can we get a few thumbs up in chat just to make sure I didn't lose anyone? Oh, good. Oh, good. Great. All right. Super. Let me just fix my charger. There we go. All right. So working with AI is kind of a mix of both art and science, kind of. Maybe that's why they call it the art of the prompt. But once you start using Copilot more often, you'll see that it takes some creativity to achieve some tasks that otherwise you might not be able to achieve. So your ability to examine a lot with different techniques, try different styles, try different tones, getting creative with the prompts that you're trying to do, getting creative with the asks. For example, while you were trying out, you thought, I would like to create a rule in my Outlook inbox so that anything that includes this particular subject gets labeled in a red label, for example. I wonder if Copilot can do that for me. And then you start trying and you see that, yes, Copilot can actually create inbox rules for you. You just need to click accept. You go over the rule. It creates the rule based on your own prompt that you gave it through natural language processing. And you click generate and it creates the rule. So there's a lot of creativity that comes with using AI and using Copilot in particular. Now it also builds new habits for you. So I remember in the beginning when it first came out, we were using Copilot because we were told to use Copilot, but no one actually got the so once I received the long email, it never occurred to me as a first thought, I'm just going to use Copilot. That mentality was sort of not there, and it took some time to build the habit of offloading some of the heavy lifting on Copilot just so I can have time to do what actually matters. Now, in terms of collaboration between team members as well, Copilot does provide this new, what's the word I'm looking for? Dynamic between the different teams to operate with, where everyone can get creative and then collaborate on their creativity together and then extract key insights and make sure that communications are happening effectively because a human error is something that is possible. So someone might miss an important piece of information. So supplementing the capabilities using Copilot just provides that extra edge of comfort and collaboration within a team space. Working with AI lifts the weight of work. Absolutely. As we said, the main purpose of using Copilot is to offload the heavy lifting so people can be empowered to focus on what's really important, on learning, on growing, on providing new ideas, creating and innovating new aspects of the organization. So that is what working with Copilot is really about. So we've got Microsoft Copilot within our Microsoft 365 tenant. Okay, so it's great. Our users have been collaborating more than ever. Email communications are just through the roof in terms of effectiveness. Teams meetings are happening and everyone feels engaged. No one ever feels lost because they can just ask Copilot about any piece of information that they might have missed. So what if I would like to, within my organization, what if I'd like to extend these capabilities to go beyond my Microsoft 365 tenant? So that could be another Microsoft solution, so like Dynamics 365, or an outside or a third-party solution. So if we speak about Amazon Web Services, I can use, if I'd like to get some data from Amazon Kinesis, or Kafka, or Jira for project management, or some other CRM or ERP solution that I have within my organization that contains a lot of data and a lot of information that is relevant to me and matters to me as an organization. And I'd like to use these third-party sources of data. I'd like to use them within Copilot. I'd like Copilot to extend its capabilities and have the vision over there as well. And that is absolutely possible. So when we speak about the solutions that we discussed, Jira or any AWS service like Kinesis for data streaming, Kafka, for example, or Dynamics 365. So in order to have this gateway open between, my Copilot chat window over here. So within my Microsoft 365 tenant and within my subscription, if I'd like to ask questions to be extracted and insights to be fetched from a third-party solution, then that is possible, and I can still ask the query from Copilot over here. I just need to make that connectivity and open that gateway. So I can use graph connectors, which are connectors that are some of them are within the marketplace, so they're third-party developed. Some of them are developed by Microsoft. So graph connectors enable this gateway to open, so you connect your own Microsoft graph or the Microsoft graph of your tenant to that external source of data or information. So it can be a CRM or an ERP solution or other different solutions that can serve as sources of information, sources of data. So now once you deploy this connector, so now Copilot actually has the ability to extract insights from these other data sources, which just extends your capabilities beyond measure. Now, declarative copilots, what if I'm running a law firm, and a lot of the use cases where my team members are using Copilot are deeply technical, and Copilot really has to be a Harvey Specter of his kind, and really has to be knowledgeable in the law and with a lot of experience with different cases, trained on different cases. Now, in that case, I can create a declarative copilot, which is my own copilot that I have customized and trained on my own data. And the way I do that is through Copilot Studio, where I can train my own and customize my own copilot. And now I've got a very specialized agent that is very knowledgeable in a specific area. Now, let's say I would like to fetch key insights from external sources, but I don't want to do it using graph connectors. I don't want to have this gateway open. I want it to be per call basis. So if I need it, I'll use it. If I don't need it, I don't need the connectivity to be there. In that case, I would use API plugins. So API plugins allow Copilot to make what we call data dips into these external sources using the APIs. So sending the request. So for example, on a CRM solution, a customer relationship management solution, I can ask Copilot to give me the phone number of a contact. So Copilot would initiate an API call to my CRM. It will send in the request, include in the request the name of the customer, and then receive in the response the phone number, and then provide me with that all within the Copilot chat. So it's a per call basis if I don't need to have this connectivity existing. Teams message extensions. Now again, if we look at Teams, over here, let's say I'd like to extend the functionality within Teams messages. Maybe I can include a button here that says reference case, where we talk a lot in Teams about customer service cases that have been raised, and these cases exist within our Dynamics 365, whatever that would be. It could be sales, it could be marketing, it could be F&O, whatever the solution that I have on Dynamics is. But let's say the data is there, it's in Dynamics, I'd like to extend the functionality of Teams to include the button of referencing the case, where I can click reference case, and then I'll be asked to enter the case number, for example, and then it would do that that data dip into Dynamics, and without leaving Teams, without leaving the chat, I can actually see the different case numbers coming up here, and then once I click on one of them, it's added into the chat. So that is a possibility of extending Microsoft 365 Copilot by using Teams message extensions. Any questions? Any questions about anything that we've discussed, or is everyone as excited as me to get on with the actual use cases? Okay, super. Okay, so we'll begin with the executive persona. So you know, as executives and leaders, strategists, these individuals will be responsible for a large team or multiple teams at times, a lot of projects that could be happening simultaneously, a lot of communications that are coming in, a lot of meetings that are happening, Teams chat conversations, email inboxes with threads, and everything in between. So it can be very hectic for executives to you know, consolidate all of this information and keep up to date with what's going on in terms of the interactions that they've been having and what's the updates of the projects that are happening. So we can put ourselves in this scenario. There's a project that I'm working on as an executive, and there are a lot of conversations that are happening on Teams, and there are email threads that are being that I'm being looped in to stay up to date, and a lot of meetings that are happening that are being recorded. Now, I'd like to consolidate all of this information through one, let's say, portal or through one interface. Now, over here, if I come to the chat window, I'll use this sample prompt. So I'd like to summarize all my meetings, all my emails, chats over the past 30 days. So it's a time-bound prompt related to topic of my choice. Now I can say AI training. Now Copilot will take this prompt and it will start looking into all of the components that I mentioned. So we can say over here, here's some of the emails, meetings, etc. So, sorry. Yeah. Space, but that's okay. All right, so we can see here that I have the emails that are summarized. So now it went into my emails and filtered by the topic that I mentioned. So nothing would be irrelevant. AR Zone covers digital transformation. What happened? What's the latest update? An email, a Teams meeting that I've had, or an email. I think that was an email between me and Ayman discussing Copilot adoption program. I shared the draft, so even the documents I shared on emails there. All the different emails that I've had. You can see all the meetings, and they are just keeps going up once I stand on the link. But anyways, we can see information regarding the meeting, and the meeting would be linked, which would take me to the outline of the meeting and what was discussed in there and what's relevant to it. Teams chat conversations. So you can see I essentially gained a view of all the important updates within all of my different Microsoft 365 applications from a single chat window. And you can see a lot of emails that are being referenced and invites, Teams chat conversation. I can just go to any component that was referenced for more insights and information. Right. Okay, so that's mark that as done. So creating a speech using Microsoft 365 Copilot. All right, so let's have a quick walkthrough through that scenario. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's say I've got this file. Get to it, OneDrive. Okay, so we've got this. Okay, there we go. We've got this income statement that was the summary of the company's income statement provided to me by the our accounting department, and we can see all the different components, different revenues and costs. And now, as a CFO, for example, Chief Financial Officer of the organization, I'd like to make a speech to different stakeholders in our next meeting and to discuss the information present here. So then I can go to File, Create. And I would like to use the income statement document. Let me use this sample prompt here. Write a speech for Fabricam stakeholders that summarizes the results of the company's income statement found in the attached file. And then I can just attach the file Fabricam income statement. Now I can click generate. As soon as I do that, it will start generating. So now it's going over to this document and reading all the information presented in it. Now formulating that into a speech. So we can say that it's a speech to stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the summary of Fabricam's 2023 income statement. And it has all the numbers outlined in the format of a speech. If I'm happy with it, I can use it. If I'm not, I can regenerate it. Let's say I would like to keep it, and then I'll go use editor over here, see if there are any suggestions. I like to set the tone as professional. I would want it to be casual, not really. So I can then start, we have observed an increase in the costs, and it is suggesting that I use we have seen. I can use that. That's no problem. So I'm editing out right now. I haven't even touched this document. I just sent a prompt. It looked at the numbers. It generated speech, and voila. Let's call that speech, not peach. Okay, there we go. Now, let's say I'd like to use this speech as the backbone of a presentation that I'd like to create, which is what I didn't want to spoil, but let's say I'd like to use this PowerPoint template and say replace with new presentation. And then I can say create a presentation about, and I'd like to reference this file. So I don't see it. Give it a minute. Bam. Again. Okay. So if I don't see the file and I cannot reference it or by uploading it, another trick would be to share it, copy the link. Link is copied, and then go to Copilot. And by the way, / is also a way to reference components. So I can paste that link over here. Now Copilot is going to the speech document this time, not the income statement. So I started with an income statement. Yeah, that can happen sometimes. Trying to regenerate usually helps. So I started off with an income statement, and then I created a speech from that income statement. And then now I'm trying to create a presentation from it. Let's just refresh everything. Maybe it's a bit buggy. Create presentation, place with a new presentation. Hopefully it will show up. Why not signed in? Okay. Let's try fixing link. Everything seems in order. If I have editing rights. Oh wait, that's this. Oh. Yes, showing. That's unfortunate. Sorry, that could happen with Copilot sometimes when you're trying to include different components. Even when you try to generate content, you'll find that sometimes it's unable to generate the response for you. The best way is to keep trying, honestly. Let's click share. Let's try to copy the link from here. Reference and then hit link. That is extremely unfortunate. Shouldn't be an access problem. That's extreme. Let me try to create blank presentation. Sorry, this is taking a long while, but I feel like I need to get to the bottom of this. It's generating, but it's getting stuck when it's displaying the results. I didn't load. Sheesh. Let's give it one more shot. Let's try to remove it. There we go. That works. Yes. It's through. Thank God. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. So as you can see here, I say thank you. All I did was refresh like 20 times. But anyways, so what we see here is actually the outline that it has generated based on the speech document. So this outline, so I can, if I say I want the cost of goods sold to be somewhere near the middle, income tax, delete that. Overall net income, let's start with that because we're very goal-oriented and goal-focused organization. I can add another topic and I can ask Copilot to generate the topic for me. So I can say, I can add points that are not even in the document reference. I can ask Copilot to generate that content for me, that piece of information, that topic, and click generate. Hopefully, I think because I've made it easier right now and not made it stick to a template, so it's going to be much quicker in generating the response. One limitation for that though is it generates up to a maximum of 40 slides, so I cannot exceed that limit. But the good thing is it creates images and it creates the titles, the talking points, and it also creates the animations and transitions. So we'll see, I think fading is what it uses the most. So you see some fading action animation on the screen, even slide transitioning from one slide to another. It's nothing too crazy, it's not like the shiny star that grows or shrinks or whatever. It's nothing too crazy, but you have a pretty much ready-made or ready to review, let's say, because we said always trust and verify. And you can see here all the content that was within my speech is now in this presentation. So now the time to value and the productivity has been boosted through the roof right now. All right, so that is, I believe that's it for the presentation. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, let's say I would like to add something else. So, oh, sorry. So now I'm going to use another prompt to add content to this existing PowerPoint. So now I'll open the Copilot chat window and I'll paste this sample prompt. Add a new slide after slide 1. This slide should have an image of a mountain peak in the Alps. And towards the bottom of the slide, add a text box that says Fabricamp's company motto, add speaker notes, and what the speaker notes are about. And I can click enter. Now it's trying to understand my prompt. Now, generally speaking, I wouldn't recommend including multiple requests in a single prompt. I would say cut it into chunks. Sometimes that you can face issues because of if one part of the prompt failed to generate or to display, then the outcome of all your asks now has been skewed. So you might want to build a prompt on top of the other. Okay, so it has created the slide with the image of the mountaintop. Now this image is generated, so it's not taken from anywhere. It's original Copilot content. And the slide is there, and speaker notes have been added as well. Where's that model? We overcome every obstacle. There's the model. Yes, question, Dania. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if she said it or not, but can we link Excel? Can we reference Excel into a PowerPoint?
No, so when it comes to linking, so within Word, you can link Word, PowerPoint, meetings, and what was the last one? Emails. But within Excel, you can, within PowerPoint, you can only link Word documents. You can only reference Word documents and people. And I think in meetings and emails as well. Yeah, meetings and emails as well. But in terms of files, you can only link Word documents. Within Excel, you cannot link any other document. So Excel, Copilot in Excel only functions on the Excel sheet that it's in.
Okay, I have another question. Let's say the Word document has a table that has merged cells. Does it take it as qualitative data, or it rejects it? Does it read it?
A table within Word, and it is what? It has merged cells.
Yes.
But it's a table, right? It's like a table like this, but it just have some cells that are merged together.
Yes, but it has some.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Now, one thing I say as a way of thinking about Copilot is in each application, Copilot is still the same, but it's limited by its capabilities within or its صلاحيات. It's privileges within this application. So we've got Copilot for Excel, and Copilot for Excel is really good at understanding tables and different relationships between the data as well, and it has the ability to read these tables. Now, Copilot within Word has the same capabilities. So actually, this speech that we have right here, we based it on an income statement sheet, and it was mostly in table format. Yeah, so over here. So it understands that, so this is the title, this is the headlines, headers for the columns, and now these are the different revenues that were calculated. So it does understand the relationships between the different components in a table. So yes, even if I have in a table a table in a Word document, Copilot will be able to read it as well. Okay, and I could have just yeah, you're welcome, no problem. I could have just from the beginning created a presentation from this income statement, but then that means I'm building on something that's too abstract. I'm going from one extreme end, which is tables and numbers, to another extreme end, which is a PowerPoint presentation, which should be very interactive, very engaging for the audience. I'm going from something that's really dry to something that's really creative and interesting. So we just intermediated with creating the speech first and formulating the speech, and then moving on to the PowerPoint. Okay, so you can see I can also use the another AI tool, which is the designer. So if I'm not happy with the design that Copilot decided for me, I can choose some other design, see more design ideas. It will follow the same kind of non-crazy format, but you can see I can change it a bit and play around with it. All right, so let's continue. All right, so we create a speech, we create a slide presentation. Now, on, so for sales, ooh, this is a nice one. So now we've got, we'll see how I can create a market research study, create a market research report as a VP of sales. So I'd like to, we'd like to enter a new market, for example, with one of our products, and we want to really study the market before we do any extreme actions, or before we take any actions into this new initiative. So I'd like to create a market research report. Now let's go into Loop. So Loop, there we go. Loop is one of those tools that really enhances collaboration and working with within a team, where you can create boards, you can announce successes, announce major updates, have everyone collaborate on the boards in real time. You can also reference other components within Microsoft 365. So you can reference documents, you can reference whiteboards, and we'll see whiteboards in a bit, and how to what's the functionality of whiteboard. But we can actually use Copilot within Loop to create this workspace for our team members to operate on, and for our team members to collaborate. So we have this page over here. Let's call it market research. And now I can use Copilot, or just start typing, or I can, attach a reference, all of these things. So let's say I'd like to, I'll use this standard prompt. Okay, so as the VP for sales for an OEM in the plastics manufacturing industry, please research the market for plastic components in the automotive industry. Interesting. Provide information on target audience, market size, competition, trends, relations. So I'm trying to get a full market research report using Copilot. And I would say it's a very good starting point. I probably don't want to base any critical company decisions on the first draft that I get, but it's a great starting point, and I can get a lot of the insights which I will base my decisions on from this market research. All right, let's take a look at this. So we've got here on market research, who's the target audience, the market size, 30 million, wow. Competition, who are my competition, the different trends in the market, the different regulations. So it has included everything that I've asked it to do. Now I can come over here. I can come over here. Let's say I would like to formulate, no, let's say I want to come here and use Copilot and say replace. And you can see here some suggestions that you can use. So create, and you'll see a sample for a prompt that asks to create something, or brainstorm, blueprint, describe. So you really want to test it out for yourself. That's not the right prompt. I'd like to use this one, rewrite the report. Now let's say I would like to have all of the information in this draft in table format. Yeah. Same. Walid. Okay, great. I think that was an unintentional unmute there. So we can see here. So let's. I should have used this over here, but I can delete that and stick. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, anyways, so now I have all of the information in a table format, which is much easier to track, much easier to use, much easier to read, etc. Now, if I'd like to add a recommendation at the end, and so I do / over here, add a recommendation to the end of the report as to whether we should move into the market. So now we have added the prompt. It's going to generate a recommendation based on the information that it has generated on whether we should, given the substantial market size, expected growth, it is recommended to. So it has made its verdict, and now I have a market research report. How exciting. Where does it keep going? All right, so we've done that. Now let's see comparing supplier agreements. So I'm dealing with a lot of suppliers in this scenario. I have some agreements that I would like to compare between. Now, in that case, I would go into, there we go. Okay, I've got the agreements. All right, so I'm gonna head on to Word, create a blank document, and I'm going to reference all the different agreements that I have in my OneDrive. So I'll insert the prompt here. I'm the sales manager for Northwind Traders, a supplier for various grocery and beverage products. Create a report that compares the supplier agreements and provide recommendations on renewals. The supplier agreements for these 3 customers are attached. Now the only thing I need to do is attach these files. If I don't see them here, I can browse from the cloud. I would go into my files. Here's 4. We are in sales. Now we need to do it one by one. So over here, boom. That's one more. I'm just repeating the steps basically until I've attached all of the agreements to traders. And finally, one of them, they should add like functionality select more than one, but that's okay. Okay, so I've attached all 3 agreements. I've identified what I'd like to achieve. It's also nice to be polite to Copilot just in case the rise of the machines comes. So it's nice to always say please and thank you. And just click generate. Now it's looking into the 3 supplier agreements in terms of all of the different components within them. And finally, it's creating a recommendations section for contract agreement on how can we, as Fabricam, how can we get more favorable terms. Okay, so now let's say we can click regenerate, and it will start doing that again. We can ask it more questions. We can ask for specific sections to be added over here. So basically, the functionalities, the main capabilities are there. How creative you get in navigating day-to-day tasks, that's what takes creativity. Okay, so that's done for sales. IT, that's the stuff right there. Okay, so let me go to here. Yeah. All right, so let's create a new blank document. So over here, I've got, just so we can have some context on what's going on. So we're trying to implement a new network security product. I think it's called sales IT CipherGuard. Yeah, so we've got this piece of documentation over here. It's a product overview about CipherGuard, a new network security product that we're trying to implement, and it has some information, technical specifications, etc. Now, I would like to create a project plan for installing this piece of software or product. So I've got a ready prompt right here, which says I'm the director of IT and create a project plan, a new network security product, and then I'll attach the product. But you see this sentence right here, base this plan on IT industry guidelines for installing network security protocols. So products, sorry. So this sentence right here tells Copilot that for this bit, for this section, once you start getting to generating the response there, refer to the web for answers. And then I can reference my document over here. And then go to IT, choose CipherGuard, click attach, and generate. And now it's using both. It's routing the data on the document, and it's also gonna check the web for best practices and guidelines in the industry in installing this. So see here, project guidelines, and this is the detailed project plan. Now, it might not be immediately obvious within the document. There isn't any section that is categorized as best guidelines, but actually, if we look any closer, so integrate logging and monitoring with SIM systems. So that was not part of the original documentation. That's actually generated from the web. What else? So here, the training bit that is taken from the web on installing new products that you need to include training sessions. So that was not directly within the product overview, but it's actually one of the industry guidelines. Now I can keep asking questions to modify, etc., and the usual capabilities that we've seen so far. Okay, let's skip some exercises. Jumping into marketing, let's go back into Loop. And if I want to generate some marketing ideas, okay, there we go. Okay, so let's say we'd like to brainstorm some marketing ideas for a new line. Ideally, I should create a new workspace. So let's just create a new page over here. And I'll describe to Copilot, brainstorm 10 ideas for a marketing campaign for a new line of outdoor toys. Now, maybe this could be a good starting point. It's not a very detailed prompt. You can go in further details later on, but it's a starting point for a prompt. And then it starts generating the content. And voila, we have it. Marketing idea campaigns, Adventure Trans series, Toy Hunt, influencer partnerships. These are actually very solid ideas. Yeah, so you got all of these different campaign ideas. Now, if you're happy with it, that's fine. If not, you can rewrite it in different ways. You can formulate it as a table, or you can just keep adding more ideas to it. So that's for marketing. Maybe take the yes, spreadsheets. That's a big one. Let's get into that. So let's say marketing. Okay, so here we've got a spreadsheet with all different market trends of chai tea brand for chai, I'm guessing. Yeah. And we've got the sales, the different categories and their sales, social media engagement, and online searches. Now, for Copilot in Excel, if you open the side panel, I can see some suggestions. Now, I can say summarize using pivot tables or charts, show data insights, advanced analysis, or suggest a formula column. Now, let's say there's a piece of KPI here that I'd like to calculate. There's a quantitative number that I need, value that I need over here, and I just don't know what it is. So I can suggest a formula column. And now what Copilot is doing is it's understanding the context of the whole Excel sheet, and it's going to suggest to me a formula column that I can add here to better understand or to generate a more useful or meaningful relationship within the sheet. So here it has created this formula over here, engagement per sale, calculates the number of social media engagements per units of chai sold. And I can show the explanation of the calculation, and then I can insert the column here, and then have the value right over here. Now I can ask Copilot to show data insights. I would like to have some visualization of the data that I have. Sorry, I think I may have missed a couple questions over there. Do you always have to reference? I would say if you're trying to draft a specific piece of content that should reference a specific piece of another document, then in this case you should reference. So in Word, for example, I cannot ask Copilot to draft a summary of all the resumes that I have. I'll need to be more precise than that, because it would then have to go through all my files. Now, thinking of organization scale, it will have to go through all my files and look for different resumes. While if I just reference the files, it will be much easier for it to understand that. So here I've said show data insights, and it has created this graph of engagement per sale by date. So I can add that to a new sheet. And now I've got this pivot table that was added with the different data, the different visualizations, all right over here. Let's say I would like to create a full-on grid. Oh, that's not okay. Let's say show data insights. I think we need to refresh for that. I see. So Copilot doesn't have the ability to understand pivot tables, and this is a pivot table. So I need to go back to sheet 1, say show data insights. It's analyzing. Okay, that's not the only thing I need. I would like to add all insights to grid. So now I've asked Copilot to generate as many relationships as it could about this, about my Excel sheet. And now it has created all of these relationships between the different fields in the Excel sheet. We can see here that it has even identified an outlier value. So it sees that these are the average social media engagements. So now if I see this outlier by date, I might want to go back and check what were the events that happened in that date so I can analyze the market trends even better. So that is another use case for using Copilot within Excel as a marketing individual. I'll try to go through as many as I can in different personas. I don't believe we have the time. I wouldn't want to keep you waiting. Let's create a financial analysis report. So if you go to finance, okay, and we'll go to Word. Let's open a new blank document. Okay, so let's say you've got a document with the marketing campaign results for Q1. Let me just finance. Yeah. So we've got an Excel sheet with marketing campaign data for Q1 with the budgets, revenues, the users targeted, and the engaged users. That's not the right. Oh yeah, here. Okay. Yeah. So we've got. We started with the Excel sheet. We extracted it into a Word table, and now we have the campaign data over here. So now if I go to my blank document and paste this ready prompt, Director of Finance, create a financial report based on the Q1 marketing campaigns results. Oh, I did not attach. Here, browse files. There you go. Finance and Fabricam. And you can see that it's reading the data from here, very similar to what we've been doing. And it has included, so we can see here that in the report, in the prompt, it says include executive summary, data analysis, and recommendations. And we can see that it has done just that exactly. I can rewrite it, I can edit it out. I can feel free to do whatever I want. HR, that's a very good use case. Let's say I've got, I'm just getting lost in the files, so it takes me a bit of time to navigate. All right, so I've got this over here, this document. Let's close all of the other tabs. Okay. Bang. All right, so as an organization called the Graphic Design Institute, I've got a design team, and these are the responsibilities of all design team members of the Graphic Design Institute. So I've got an outline of all the different responsibilities, research, testing, communication, design, etc. Now, I'd like to start a hiring process for a new position within the same team. So I'd like to create a job description. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but so I'd like to create a job description, which I'll later use to, I'll use as the guideline for helping me pick the right candidates. So let's go over here. Got this prompt ready. All right, I'm the HR manager, started the hiring process, reviewed the attached document, and create a job description. And, oh, it was there. Design, there we go. Attach it and create. And we can see that it started creating the different job description with all the different responsibilities, using all the different responsibilities. And okay, so for time's sake, let's say I'm happy with that. So now I have this senior animation designer document. Now let's say I would like to now, so I've received multiple applicants with their resumes, and I'd like to compare all of them with my baseline, which is the job description that I just created. So I'd like to analyze resumes and get this. There we go. I'm the hiring manager, and we're hiring. Create a report that compares the attached resumes to the requirement of the attached job description. So now I need to attach all the different files. Sure. First resume, attach. Oh, always do that. Here we go. Let's just do it for 2 resumes and the job description. And now the job description. Where was it? Say senior animation designer. There we go. So now I'm comparing 2 resumes with the job description, which I created from the document that outlines the responsibilities, and now it's going to generate that comparison report for me, which I can then use to make a better decision within my hiring process as an HR manager. Just give it a second. So as a candidate overview, Alex Wilbur, just some of the main information about each and every one of them. Maybe we can see right away here that languages were not listed. Skills, I can compare both skills easily within a single piece of document, see which one do we use. So comparison job requirement, both candidates have demonstrated the ability to work collaboratively. And it actually brings examples from their resume for each candidate on where did they show this particular skill or quality. And now the thing about using AI is we want to keep it fair, and within Microsoft's responsible AI framework, a human being always needs to review. So we cannot just look at this and say, okay, we're hiring Alex. So there has to be a person there actually double checking the work, going through the resumes themselves. Maybe Copilot missed something. Maybe the the job description was written in a non-accurate way that would affect the recommendation process. But in all cases, it's a good starting point, and I can debate and question Copilot's beliefs regarding his recommendations. Now, I don't think we have enough time for operations. Actually, I would like to do this one. So just to get everyone to know whiteboard, because I don't think it's quite that known. But whiteboard is another solution that can be used for collaboration, where you can create flowcharts, plans. It's like sticky notes on steroids, basically. So you can create a new whiteboard, and then you can generate the content of the whiteboard through Copilot. So let me come over here. And let's say I would like to install, we'd like to install new heaters within our building. As an operations manager, I would like to have a project plan for this new project. Let's go over here. I'm the operations manager for this corporation. Installing a new boiler in our heating system. Suggest the steps we need to follow. Now it's going to create a draft. It might get stuck sometimes in displaying the content, as just happened. I'll try it a couple of times. If it still fails, I'll make it much simpler. Prompt. Usually repeating it more than once does the trick, or editing out, rephrasing the prompt, excuse me. Suggest a subset. I cannot simplify much more than this, honestly. Try it a few times. There you go. So it's a very simple task to create a project plan for, but in all cases, here you've got the content. I can generate more sticky notes for the team. Okay, let's say I'm happy with that. And there, I've got the different steps that we can then start brainstorming with the team and, use it as a starting point. And on whiteboard, everyone can see the same thing. I can ask everyone to follow me. So now whatever is on my screen, they'll be on it as well. So it's a nice tool for nice teamwork and collaboration, etc. So I can come to Copilot here. I can ask it to categorize which notes I would like to categorize. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'd like to categorize these notes. Now it's gonna start dividing the notes that I've selected into different categories depending on their content. So here we've got preparation, installation, connections, and testing. I can regenerate, or if I'm happy with it, I can keep it. So it's just a nice functionality to have, and it's a nice application to use as part of the team. It makes planning and collaboration much lighter, much more visual, much easier for everyone to see what's happening real time. Right. So I think the last thing for me to say, so there's one last thing for me, and there are two things left for you guys to do. So let me just get the link over here. So unfortunately, we haven't had the chance to try out every single exercise in this session, but this is actually there's a whole course full of modules dedicated to real-life use cases on Microsoft Learn. So I'll drop the link in chat. So if you want to try out more exercises than we have done, or you want to try out more different personas, different tasks that you can be doing with Copilot and exploring the functionalities, I just dropped the link in chat for everyone to see. Now, the last two things for you guys that we need to do for the day is first we need to claim the code for the certification, so you can have a nice little certification on Microsoft Learn, and we can have a quick walkthrough right now. So first you go to learn.microsoft.com, then you sign in if you're not signed in, and you use your personal Microsoft account. So that's at Outlook, at Hotmail, or at Live. We recommend not using your work emails because it's nice to have the certificates on your personal one. So if you go to the little icon at the top right, go to Profile, then go to Achievements on the left, and redeem your code now. Now this is where you enter this code right here, which we've got for you over here, and I'll drop it in chat in just a second. So once you've done that, click redeem. You will see you've had, then you'll get some badges. If you go to courses, you will see a title, the title of today's webinar, Copilot use cases. If you click on the little printer icon, you can actually save it as a PDF or print it out, and you have this nice certificate that you can share on LinkedIn or anything else. Yeah, and the last thing would be to scan this QR code. I'll put two codes for you in a second on the screen. So this is the feedback form for today's webinar. And feedback really helps us to gauge what's really working, what's really not, if there's something we can do better. If there's something, myself personally, I've left my name on there, Karim Abdelhamid. If there's something I can do better, if something I can improve, no matter what it's about. So please let us know what you think. If you enjoyed it, let us know. If there was something that we could have done better, please also let us know. I've really enjoyed this session. I know I've been ranting for quite some time now. I hope it wasn't too heavy on the hearts. But as I said, if you'd like to know more, explore more of these use cases, please use the Microsoft Learn course. And thank you so much for being a great audience. I will put both these codes on the screen, as well as the I'll drop it in chat as well, the steps in chat. So if anyone is struggling, and once these two things are done, you're free to go. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to drop. Otherwise, if you're facing issues, I'll hang back for a while in case anyone has any questions. Thank you all. Now let's do this. Yeah, just open it twice, easier. Get the code. And the feedback form. Okay, let me get this link. Thank you very much. So the forums link, this is the link to the feedback evaluation forum. I've got my name on there on the screen for you guys as well. Or you can scan the QR code. So that's the training feedback. That's the first link over here. As for the achievement code, I'll drop the steps in chat in just a second. Here we go. And boom. Okay. This over here. Thank you very much. I'll put in the steps for redeeming the evening code. Go, just add it on the code. There we go. All right, so I've just dropped both these links in chat as well. So if you're done with these two things, then you're free to go. And thank you very much.
Thank you.